Welcome geekettes and everything in between. Now WandaVision may have drawn to a close, but of course the characters within stay alive in our hearts. I'm probably going to rewatch it multiple times, to be honest. Now I have done a few comic character spotlights on the other characters of WandaVision, but I haven't yet turned my attention to the titular characters. So today I've finally given in and I've decided to give you guys my must-know facts about the Scarlet Witch, aka Wanda Maximoff. Point number 1, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. Just like in the films, Wanda's early days in the comics started with her actually on the wrong side of the law. This comic run was in the 1960s when her powers were just sort of like hex spells that she would cast at people. In the village that her and Pietro grew up in the Wondergorn Mountains, she accidentally set the village on fire. This, of course, rightly so, made the villagers angry at her. They attacked her and Pietro. Now, conveniently, Magneto was nearby and he sweeps in to save the day, but not before the villagers brand her the Scarlet Witch. She, of course, reclaims this and uses it as her codename. As a result of his saving them, Wanda then feels indebted to Magneto. How does Magneto want that debt repaid? Well, of course, he recruits them into his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which were the main rivals to the X-Men team at the time. Wanda was never really fully committed though. In fact, in multiple battles where Magneto tries to kill the X-Men, Wanda actually uses her hex powers to thwart his control panels and the like, to stop him from actually completing that part of his goal. Ultimately, this turns Magneto's fury against Wanda. She often cowers behind Pietro as he threatens to kill Magneto if he ever did anything to his beloved sister. At the culmination of this, Magneto is kidnapped by the Stranger, and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants disbands. For now, anyway. Then, Scarlet Witch and her brother Quicksilver join the Avengers. Now that is a full 180. Point number 2, her marriage to the Vision. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has actually showed the romantic relationship between Scarlet Witch and the Vision. It has not yet shown them getting married though. In the comics this does take place. Now you may think this is pretty odd because the Vision is a synthesoid created by Ultron, but over time Wanda really does develop feelings for him. What the cinematic universe has not yet explored though is that these feelings are in fact manipulated by Immortus. See, Immortus believes that Scarlet Witch is a Nexus being. From this, he also believes that any children that she has would have the abilities to shake the very foundations of the universe, so he makes it his goal to stop her from having children, hence making her fall in love with the Vision. Seems like a pretty foolproof plan, of course. Yet, as we know, Wanda uses her magic to create her own kids. Ain't nothing gonna keep a good mum down, or something like that. Of course, the comics reveal that she accidentally used shards of Mephisto's soul, and he eventually reabsorbs them into himself, destroying her children in the process. As mentioned in my previous videos, these are reincarnated as the superheroes Speed and Wiccan. However, for the time being, Wanda is distraught at the loss of her children, and understandably this puts a massive strain on her relationship with the Vision. Point number 3, Wonder Man. Following the strain on the relationship between the Vision and the Scarlet Witch joins the West Coast Avengers. Now she kind of acts like the team leader in this scenario when Iron Man lets her anyway. But one of the heroes on her team is Wonder Man. Wanda soon develops feelings for Wonder Man. Wonder Man, it's all starting to sound the same. Anyway, the Scarlet Witch soon develops feelings for Wonder Man. Now I know what you're thinking. It's kind of okay, because the Vision's brain patterns are actually taken from Wonder Man. So he would be similar enough to fall in love with, I guess. Plus he's not a synthesoid. Anyway, on one such mission, the Wonder Man actually is killed in action. That's another notch on the belt of trauma for Scarlet Witch. Unfortunately, this would not be her last. Scarlet Witch then rejoins the main Avengers and actually resurrects Wonder Man with a massive display of power and reality warping abilities. Rightly so, this of course freaks out the Avengers, puts them a little bit on edge. However, throughout this stage of the comics, the one thing holding the Wonder Man to the mortal realm is actually the Scarlet Witch's powers. Now if that's not an unhealthy codependency, I don't know what is. Point number 4, her breakdown. Now this point is kind of heavy and there's kind of a lot to cover, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe has not shied away from showing Wanda's delicate mental state. In fact, in both the films and the comics, it freely lines up the amount of traumas that she has already received. Couple this with her reality warping abilities and you get quite a dangerous combination. Now bear in mind her fragile mind with the recent relationship strain with the Vision, losing the Wonder Man and resurrecting him again, and of course not having her kids. Well, the Wasp takes it upon herself to make an untactful remark about the unborn children. Again, I'm not a psychologist, but offending a reality warper? Definitely not something I'd recommend. Unsurprisingly, Scarlet Witch takes it to heart. At this point, she's also kind of under the manipulation of Doctor Doom. She lashes out against the Avengers. Firstly, she causes Iron Man to act drunk and disorderly at a UN meeting. He even starts a fight there that ends up getting the Avengers Charter removed. Simultaneously, Jack-O-Lantern, the supervillain, storms the Avengers mansion. When Ant-Man goes out to confront him, Jack-O-Lantern explodes, seemingly killing Ant-Man in the process. Then, Scarlet Witch sends Vision in a Quinjet to crash into the Avengers mansion to cause more havoc there. When a Vision emerges from the Quinjet, he spews out lots of little eggs that hatch to form these Ultron drones that then attack the Avengers. As if this wasn't enough, Scarlet Witch then hexes the She-Hulk to go onto a rampage. She rips the Vision's body in half, she assaults the Wasp and also Captain America before she is calmed down. Then, the Scarlet Witch takes it upon herself to summon a Kree armada to attack Manhattan. In the ensuing battle, Hawkeye is killed. When Doctor Strange goes to the Scarlet Witch's home to confront her, there he finds Agatha Harkness's dead body, where she too has been killed by Wanda. Fearing that the Avengers can do nothing for her, they pass over the Scarlet Witch to Professor Xavier from the X-Men and her father, Magneto. Number 5. House of M. First of all, let me start by saying that this is one of the greatest comic storylines ever written, and you should definitely go check it out. Secondly, I'll add to that by saying this storyline will get its own video one day, because it is just that good, it deserves it. Now this leads on directly from our previous point. So Wanda is in the care of Professor X and Magneto, who are trying to rehabilitate her mind, but to no avail. Professor Xavier then puts Wanda into a coma so that he, the X-Men and the Avengers can discuss what to do with her. Quicksilver hears that Professor X is even considering killing the Scarlet Witch, as her powers have just gotten too powerful and way out of control. He races to tell his sister of the devastating news, only to find that she herself is ready to embrace death anyway. Pietro manages to convince her sister to try one last time to get everything back and restored as it was. Wanda then warps reality once more, this time the world over, to create the House of M. Now in this reality, mutants are the majority and humans are the minority, instead of the other way around like it is in the normal reality, where mutants are often persecuted. Ruling over all of this is her father, Magneto, and their family line, and in this reality, she is believed to be human. On top of this, with her superhero friends, she also gives them kind of their dreams come true as well. She tries to make most of them happy, let's just say that. There are some other strange side effects. For instance, Wolverine regains the memory of his whole life even though he has never had that before, and Hawkeye is restored to life in this reality. Now one mutant, Layla Miller, uses her abilities to give people back their memories of the real reality. With the help of the telepath Emma Frost, they gradually return the memories to a lot of key heroes, with the exception of people like Captain America, because in this reality he's like 100 years old. These heroes band together to try and stop the Scarlet Witch and attack Magneto, who they believe is responsible for influencing Wanda to create this convoluted reality. In the ensuing battle, Doctor Strange meets Wanda on the astral plane, where he realizes that it is in fact Quicksilver's fault. When Magneto realizes what Quicksilver has done, he kills his son. Wanda swiftly resurrects him and in her anger denounces both her father Magneto and Professor Xavier and his dream for mutant kind. She then proclaims the infamous words, "No more mutants," and restores the world to its previous reality, with one main exception. 90% of the mutant population had been depowered. That's right, Wanda, through her abilities, has removed the X gene from millions of people. For a lot of people this may have seemed like a blessing, but this actually resulted in a lot more persecution for mutants. People saw it as like an act of God and therefore hounded the remaining mutants to wipe them down to just less than 200 people. When the realities were reverted as well, mutants who were perhaps flying or like using their abilities to breathe underwater, for example, obviously died in those situations. Safe to say that the X-Men since then have not had a very loving relationship with the Scarlet Witch. Point number 6, Sorcerer Supreme. Now, as we know, the Scarlet Witch is a powerful magic user. In fact, when Agamotto was looking for the next Sorcerer Supreme, she is one of the many candidates he considered. Now, Agamotto is responsible for many of the mystical items that the Sorcerer Supreme uses, such as the Eye of Agamotto, which is of course around Doctor Strange's neck, and holds the Time Stone in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So Wanda was one of his potential 30 candidates. Now, although the comics have shown multiple times that Wanda has vast abilities, they have not definitely shown how much of this ability is magical and how much of it is her superhero powers. However, on this occasion, Agamotto chose not to have the Scarlet Witch as the successor for the Sorcerer Supreme. That was a lot of S's. The reasons he highlighted was her mental instability and her apparent lack of use of magic. Now in WandaVision we did see that she has a lot of magical ability, but she did not know anything about magic. In fact, she did not realise that she was this witch being. Now Agamotto chose Brother Voodoo instead, but the Darkhold in WandaVision explicitly said that the Scarlet Witch has power to rival the Sorcerer Supreme himself. Now hopefully we're going to actually get to see that played out in Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness. Whether it be with the Scarlet Witch going head to head with Doctor Strange himself, or just fighting alongside him. I can already picture the battle scenes now. Point number 7, the High Evolutionary. Now although this fact is technically about Wanda's origin, this was a very recent thing to be brought out. For the longest time in comics, the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver have been thought to be mutants, and the children of Magneto. And although there have been times where this has been questioned in the comics, it has never been fully disproven until this point. Now during a battle where Scarlet Witch was in conflict with both her brother and her father, she cast a spell that would affect those in her bloodline. Only Quicksilver was affected, however, thus proving that she was not any relation to Magneto. So anyone hoping for that sort of X-Men crossover in the Marvel Cinematic Universe might be disappointed. Determined to find out their true origin, the twins return to the mountains of Wundagore where they were raised. Here they are brought before the High Evolutionary. Now he confirms for them that their parents are in fact Django and Maria Maximoff, those that raised them that Magneto claimed he dropped them off to. The High Evolutionary also confirms that they are not mutants. They are in fact humans that he experimented on, which then gave them their powers. This goes in line with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, of course. In the flashback sequence, we're showing that Wanda has a special reaction to the Mind Stone, but other than that, they were experimented on by Hydra to get their abilities. It is of note that the High Evolutionary was so disgusted with the result of his experiments that is the reason he returned them to their family. Charming chap. Of course, there's many other facts and points about the Scarlet Witch that I have not covered. She's been in the comics since the 60s, and she has been a main character in the Avengers for a long time. So there's many interesting storylines and arcs about her, and I do encourage you to look them up. Now it's very clear at the end of WandaVision that of course she is going to continue to be a strong character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is there any storylines or comic arcs that you think will be interesting to be seen played out? Or any personal favourites that you just want to see on the screen involving the Scarlet Witch? Let me know in the comments below. Now in the end credit scene of WandaVision, we see the Scarlet Witch examining the Darkhold, where she's obviously trying to learn magic, and of course she hears the voices of her lost sons. Now I know I'm not the only one praying for a Young Avengers Children's Crusade moment, but how long we'll have to wait for that, I'm not sure. Maybe they'll make an appearance in the Multiverse of Madness. Although if so, it'll be far more likely that it is in an after credit scene as well. Now for my next comic character spotlight, I am going to be doing it on the Scarlet Witch's husband, the Vision. So please subscribe to my channel to get a notification of when I post that. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, that would be greatly appreciated. Also, let me know in the comments if there's any of your personal favourite characters that you want me to do my comic character spotlight on. Until next time, keep on geeking on.